jamaral81, and I got another Patreon request, another one by jamaral81, and he wanted me to do yet another Dario Argento film, which is a director that I very much respect, but he's very frustrating, and this film is a good reason why. He wanted me to do 1998's Phantom of the Opera, directed by Dario Argento, which one I am kind of glad he requested it, because like Frankenstein, like Dracula, I'm a big fan of Phantom of the Opera, and I like to see as many different versions as there are. I do have the original novel by Gaston Leroux. I read it, I think, in high school. I've seen plenty of versions. I've only reviewed the original silent Universal version with Lon Chaney Sr., still my favorite version. The later Universal version with Claude Rains, which isn't as good, but it's better than some of the other ones. I did get the one with Robert Englund, pretty much the slasher version, which I meant to review a while ago, but I have some problems with this film. This is probably one of the worst ones, along with the Robert Englund version. There is another version by Hammer that I have, which I'll review at some point. And then there's Joel Schumacher's version, which I actually don't think is a horror film, which the original Gaston Leroux book isn't a horror book. Actually, I don't even really think the original with Lon Chaney Sr. is really a horror film. Just it has that famous horror imagery with it. It sort of became a horror film over time. I have to say, Argento's, as much as I really like and respect Argento, once we got into the 90s, like after Stendhal Syndrome, his films really, I mean, wasn't even like a decline, it was like a plummet. Even though The Card Player was okay, I actually did enjoy Sleepless. This film really is not that good. It stars Julian Sands as Eric the Phantom and his daughter Asia Argento. And it has some of the weirdest deviations from the novel that I don't know why he went in that direction. I would probably put the Robert Englund version over this, only because it actually does feel like a Phantom of the Opera film, even though it is sort of like, you know, A Nightmare at the Opera or The Phantom of Elm Street, because not only is it Robert Englund, but he's kind of doing his Freddy stuff with it. This, okay, I'm not going to get too much into the plot, because it does follow the same plot, essentially. Only this one, Eric sort of gets the Batman Returns story. His parents throw the basket away. It ends up in the sewer. He's raised by rats. And you get, it's kind of humorous, because these rats, I didn't know rats could swim. I thought that's why a lot of mouse and rat traps is just water. But this rat can swim, pulls the basket to safety. We get this humorous shot of this of animatronic rat with red eyes and a baby hand kind of touching it. Eric is not deformed at all, completely normal. Again, played by Julian Sands, who is a very good actor. Seen him in Arachnophobia, Stephen King's Rose Red, been in a bunch of stuff. He's a very capable actor. Asia Argento, she's kind of hit and miss. Her father's films, I think she does do better in. She was okay in Land of the Dead. I do have some opinions of her personally, like as a person. That could be its own video. And, of course, she's a singer. He becomes obsessed with her. We do get the chandelier scene, which is just laughable. This movie has no tension. It's funny that a movie that was 73 years old when this came out, I mean, it's 95 years old now, still holds up way better, has way more tension, way better scares, an actually eerie, creepy phantom because he actually is deformed. Great makeup by Lon Chaney himself. Here, not only is he not deformed, but the whole purity of the character Christine is gone. Because it's seeming, well, I guess I'll get to that. But, yeah, I really don't have to go much into the plot. But, well, for those that haven't seen my other reviews, I guess I should, but there is a baron that falls in love with Christine named Raoul, and in most iterations he's very overbearing. Here he's, I guess, kind of a decent character, played by I think it's Andre Di Stefano. It's spelled Andrea, but I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. I haven't really seen anything else he was in. No. Even the scene where he threatens the other singer not to sing, he gets a hold of her, and there's like a scene of him like nibbling on her ear, and he pulls her dress down and scratches her tit, and then lets her go, and that's when she still goes on to sing, and we get the chandelier scene. He does hold Christine captive for a while to sing, and she has this weird arc, I guess, where she even goes from screaming, I hate you," which first, this is going to be all over the place because I watched this last night. I was falling in and out of sleep. This movie did not grab me at all. First time we see Eric grown up, there's, I guess, these utility workers who get killed by Eric. Because one is in like a pulley system. He's supposed to be fixing something. We hear it. We hear like the shings of the knife and the stabbing sounds and the screams. He grabs the other two guys, pulls them down, and kills them. So yeah, it's another killer, almost slasher version. When the other singer, whose name I always forget for whatever reason, oh yeah, and I guess he's telepathic. Okay. Carlotta. When she sings, we keep getting this vision of, Julian Sands, who's shirtless, long blonde hair, again, not deformed, hitting part of the architecture with, a big hammer. And so when it gives out, the chandelier falls, and okay, we get some practical effects, the chandelier killing people below. But then we get this very laughable scene where Carlotta sees this statue, golden statue, someone holding a ball. Similar to like an Atlas statue. Starts to fall on her, and we get this CGI shot or a green screen shot of her trying to run away. Looks like she's barely moving, with that thing falling behind her. Then we get a side shot of it just bonking her on the head. She falls, and the scene ends with her sitting up, covered in plaster from above, and she screams with the puff of it coming out. There is a scene when Christine being held captive by Eric. It seems like he goes to rape her, but there's like a homeless guy nearby, and he looks through this crack and sees them together. It appears to be consensual. Oh yeah, also, there's a scene where there's this other couple that hears about the treasure down below in the sewers, so they go to get it. Eric kills them. Again, CGI, pushes the guy off a thing, he falls on a spike. But anyway, so at that point, Christine leaves on his, sort of gondolier, and meets back up with Raoul. We have the Red Death, Mask of the Red Death scene. Actually, no, not even. They didn't even really do that, which really, they didn't do the Mask of the Red Death scene. Instead, Christine's given a part, and then during her part, the homeless guy comes up and is like, I saw her with the Phantom. The Phantom's whore. It's like, okay. Phantom comes in, grabs her, takes her away. Raoul and the guy that's running the show goes to follow him. And this one doesn't make any sense. Because apart from him not being deformed, it's not like he's enamored with her purity. Just rapes her, which again appears to be consensual afterwards. But when he gets her back down in the sewers, it's like the ending to King Kong, where she's just in love with him now. Like, she... Which first, when he gets her back down to the sewers, he says, we're together till death. She hits him with a rock to flee with Raoul, who shoots Eric, and then after he gets shot, that's when Christine starts screaming and crying for him, and screaming for him to, like, come back to me, come save me. And then the ending is just, I'm reading just to refresh myself, because even though I saw it last night, this film's highly forgettable and not that enjoyable at all. Jamaral81, you're probably going to hate this review, but there really is nothing to say about this film. It is definitely one of Argento's worst films, because the Phantom even helps Raoul get Christine to the boat, pushes their boat away because he fears that the police will kill her, because he knows that they're together, and even though he kidnapped her, so he kind of put her in that danger. police show up, and he's shot quite a few times. Raul's rowing the boat away. Christine's crying. She calls him my love and cries. And then he gets stabbed and he falls into the water. And then the rats watch him drown. Or not drown, but sink. And then it ends with Christine crying. So why did they give her this King Kong ending where she literally goes from hitting him with a rock to escape, only to be in love with him after Raul goes to help her get away? Makes absolutely no sense. Also, I didn't quite get this while I was watching it, but looking into it, I guess this is what it is. I think it's the couple that goes down for the treasure. The girl of the couple sees the Phantom at one point. I thought he was sitting there with his rats, like, on him, and he's petting them. Apparently, the rats are servicing him. Apparently, he's bestiality as well. Because at one point, when he gets the mail of that couple, he calls him Mr. Phantom. And he's like, I'm not a phantom, I'm a rat. So I guess he identifies with rats and has sexual relations with them. And I think this is even after he sees and falls in love with Christine. And it's not being disfigured, not being like her purity being part of the reason why he's obsessed with her by raping her. And Christine falling in love at a very weird, seemingly forced time, almost like a King Kong ending. Even which that never made sense to me. And then just the really bad, like, Argento used to be known for the effects in his films. Kills or just his very artistic stylized shots. Here, just the CGI and the green screen, like the green screen with the statue falling on the other singer is laughable. Not only that, just how it just softly falls on her head to knock her out. Sure, when the chandelier falls on some of the audience members, that looks okay. But there's other scenes that, I want to say it was like dream sequences or something, where it's a lot of CGI stuff going on. It's just awful. It's awful to look at. And having Eric being raised by rats, yet coming out looking and acting the way Julian Sands does, it should have been that homeless guy that just... That's a guy that's raised by rats. I would honestly put the Robert Englund slasher version above it, just because it is more of a Phantom of the Opera film, even though that one has time travel and, you know, waking up in the era of, you know, the Victorian era. It's still more like Phantom of the Opera than this fucking film. Even taking, you know, me being a fan of Phantom of the Opera away from it, this is just a very bad movie anyway. I mean, I guess the acting and the singing was serviceable. It's just, yeah, it definitely deserves 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, I don't know what Argento was thinking with this. There is a number of his films that I haven't seen. Like, it's been years since I've seen Mother of Tears. I have to rewatch that, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is his worst film next to his Dracula's. I mean, it was painful to sit through. It's incredibly boring. The deviations it takes from Phantom of the Opera is just offensive, really. I mean, if you want to make an attractive Eric, I mean, it's different. I guess I could go for that. You just have to make it interesting. And it's not interesting, nor does it make any sense to have a non-disfigured, attractive version played by Julian Sands that was raised by rats, is a rapist, is into bestiality. Doesn't make any sense. And also, how did he get telepathy? I mean, I don't know. This movie was awful. Yeah, sorry I didn't go too much into the plot. Check out my other Phantom of the Opera reviews, especially the one for the 1925 Lon Chaney Sr. version. That's still the best version. I mean, it's the oldest one because the one from 1916 was lost. But a 95-year-old film is still the best out of the slew that came after it. I did review the 43 one with Claude Rains. I still have to do Robert Englund. I still have to do Hammer. Eventually, I'll get Joel Schumacher. But, yeah, Argento, you fucked up with this one. This is one of your worst films, dude. And this is a guy that did Suspiria, Tenebrae, Phenomena, Inferno, Opera, great giallos like Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Deep Red, redefined the giallo genre, known for his just very stunning visuals. And then he did this. Yeah. Awful movie. Jamaral81, sorry this isn't as in-depth, but there's not much to say with this piece of shit. It's awful. But yeah. Thank you for watching.